Do this last night or yesterday in class? All right, so if you had to do 7 and 5 and their opposites, you need a total of 4 points. Good, right? Okay, inequality symbols. That's the alligator jaws. Pac-Man's alligators, I don't know, whatever your fifth grade teacher called it. Out of -7 and -5, which number is greater? Hunter.
-5.
Correct. Out of 7 and 5, which is greater? John. Good. -7, +5. Hannah. Great. And then the last one. So, very good. Generally speaking, the way to evaluate which ones is greater is if you use a kind of a number line mental model. The numbers that are further, the number that's further to the right is the greater number on a number line, okay? Now, that can get confusing when you start moving on to rational numbers. So, if you have integers and don't have to worry about fractions and you don't have to worry about decimals, use a number line or a visual, whether you decide to write it down or you have a number line in your head, always ask yourself, whatever number is furthest to the right is the greatest number. We have to use a slightly different technique when we do rational numbers, and we'll get to it. Now, with this letter C, what do you notice? I bet there's like a lot of different answers, but there's one main thing that I kind of want you to see that I want to see if anybody got it. What'd you put, Hannah? All right, which could be true, but there's something else further that I kind of need you to realize.
The biggest and negative number is the least value it has.
True. Let me kind of give you a hint. It's such an open-ended question that I kind of got to give you a little bit of direction. All I'm going to do is this. Ready? See if this clues you in into the answer that I'm looking for. Study that and see if you can figure something out here. And the only other hint I'll give you is that it kind of builds on lessons 1 through 3. Vivian. Keep going. First thing that she said is she's noticing that the sets of numbers first indicated in the red or green are the opposites. So now take it a step further. That's the way to start it. Then what? Cody.
I said that the numbers are the same, they're just positive or negative.
Let's build on what Vivian said about when the integers, when you do the opposites, what's happening? Alex.
When you do the opposites, it's the lower number in the negatives, but it's the higher number when you're in the positives.
Kind of on the right track. It's like almost exactly on the right track. I just want you to say it a little bit differently. I want you to simplify it. Margus.
Yeah, they're the opposites. So since the alligator or whatever you want to call it is eating the 7, then this alligator's eating the 7, and then this alligator's eating the 5.
All right, so essentially, when you do the opposite, what happens to the alligator jaws?
It goes the other way.
It goes the other way. It flips. When you flip the sign from positive to negative or negative to positive, as long as you do it to both sets, the alligator jaws, the Pac-Man, the inequality flips as well. And so if you take a look at the next set, same thing. -7, its opposite is +7. +5, its opposite is -5, and the inequality flips. All right? Now, you may have had something different here, but somewhere in there, you need to squeeze it in because it comes into play later in the lesson. I'll simplify it for you. When you have opposite integers, within sets. The inequality reverses. I'll give you a chance to get that written, and then we'll proceed. All right. Put the four integers from least to greatest. What I want you guys to do, as simple as this is, every time you get a least to greatest question or a greatest to least, I need you to underline it. Always, always, always. I'm going to actually check it, because some questions will ask you to go greatest to least, and some will go least to greatest. What do they want, least to greatest or greatest to least? So which one out of these four integers is furthest to the left? Punt.
-7.
Finish it up, Punt. Keep going.
5, 5, 7.
Sounds good. Okay. Ready to move on to rational numbers?
Yeah.
Read example 1. What's the major difference between these numbers and the numbers we've been doing in lessons 1 through 3? Jack. Okay, and you took it a step further because you knew that decimals were rational numbers because I explained it to you already. But the fact that they have decimals is what makes them different. And I'll put in parentheses, because I've already taught it to you, that any numbers that contain decimals are called rational numbers, and fractions also. And with rational numbers, if you try to start figuring out where they are on a number line, it can get confusing. And that's why I prefer, and my students prefer for better accuracy, using a place value method, which will, I think, make a little bit more sense. It does take more time. It does take more time to use a place value chart compared to a number line, but it will ensure accuracy, and it will ensure that you do it the right way. Okay, which is really all that matters. We don't care about speed. I care about that you get it right. The top of page 4, page 3, is kind of what I've already explained to you about what a rational number is. But what we're going to do is we're going to use a place value chart to rank these. Go back. What do they want? Least to greatest or greatest to least? Or however how way they word it. What do they want? Because I want you to underline it. Or in this case, they just reword it as lowest to highest, which means least to greatest. But I want you to underline it. What I also like to do, because you have to flip pages, when we go to the next page. So it's a constant reminder. Somewhere up here, put a little reminder that we've got to go low to high when everything is said and done. Please, just do it my way, okay? I've gotten all of the yeah buts. Can we do it this way? Can we do it that way? I've heard them all. Do it the way that I show you to do it. All right, the first task, all we're going to do is take the numbers that they give us and put them in random order into the place value chart. And if you look at your place value chart, since we don't have any values greater than ones, I need a place value for ones, tenths, hundredths, thousands, and 10,000ths. What goes here in between the ones and the tenths that's not written in? The decimals. So I'm going to just put them in because we need them. Yeah, you could call them dots. I don't care. Decimals, dots, same thing. Now, I don't like flipping back and forth, so if you can, leave it open like this. This is what like Hunter suggested, because we initially need to put the numbers that they give you on page 2 into the place value chart, and it's in no specific order just yet. In fact, I'm just going to put it into the chart in which it appears in the word problem. All right? So the first number that they give you for Calioma, Peru, is 2.69, correct?
Yeah.
Put it in. What about Durbuk, India? Jack.
2.5.
Yep, that spans all the way out to the 10,000ths. Wenquan, China. Bergs. Aguilar, Argentina. T-Rex.
30 and 404.
Crafty. Nice. The next thing that you want to do is the routine. It's like when we add them, any place where you see a missing digit, fill it up with what's called an annex 0. Fill up the empty nest with an egg. Okay, now we can go on to our comparison phase. When you compare using place value, you want to start comparing digits from the furthest left to the furthest right. So all I'm going to do right now is focus in on give me a second here, I can prepare this. This column right here, that's my furthest left, which happens to be, in this case, the 1's place value. Hold on. Knew that was going to happen. Hold on, let me hit pause. Okay, we're back. That's right. Remember again, are we going least to greatest or greatest to least? All right, so now we take a look at our 1's, and out of these 4 digits, we have a 3, we have a 2. Which one's lower? So obviously one of these 2 cities is going to be the lowest. Since they're both 2, what do we have to do next? Hannah. We now need to start moving in place value from left to right. So we're going to take a look and see. We now have a 6 and a 5. Forget about everything else. Just look at your 6, look at your 5. Which one's lower?
5.
Hannah. Once I know that that's now my lowest, I'm going to put a little 1 here, knowing that when I put this now in rank order, from least to greatest, that's going to go first. And then what I can do, watch, is cross it out. So we don't need to look at these numbers ever again. And I can actually take this if I want, because I don't need to look at these again. Now, do I need to reveal the next place value number?
No.
Automatically, what's going to have to be number 2?
Peru.
Peru. Put a number 2 next to it, cross that out. Now we got to look at Wenquan and El Aguilar, right? They both start with a 3. We move to the next place value, which is the tenths. And out of 1 and 0, again, which one's lower? Come on, I got 5 hands up. Come on. 0, 1, which one's lower? Colin. I now know that El Aguilar is going to be my 3rd lowest city. And obviously, since there's only 1 left, this becomes 4. Okay, now to complete the question, remember this is only kind of like a little work page for you to show your work. I still have to list the cities. So my lowest was what?
Durbuk, India.
If you'd like, I'll just put the name of the city, not necessarily the continent that it's on. Just we'll put Durbuk for time's sake. Followed by what after Calioma? You got it. I started you off simple, 4 cities. None of these, by the way, are negative numbers. It gets harder, but this is the whole entire process. I start you off with something that's basic, and we build and build and build. Flip. A little bit harder in that we now, if you go to exercise 2, you've got more cities, but luckily, they're still all positive. Okay? When we get into block 2, if we get to it today, we should be able to at least start it today. You'll start dealing with negatives and positive rationals. But it's the same exact process. First thing you're going to do, actually read through it first. Read through it so you know what we need to do. And underline what they want, least to greatest or greatest to least. Hold off on it. Go take your break and we'll come back. What do they want? Highest to lowest or lowest to highest? Okay. Example 2, right? Underline it. I am gonna check. I want to make sure. No, we're gonna do it together. Okay, so all we're gonna do is just rank the cities now in random order, or we're gonna put them into the place value chart in random order. What you guys can, why don't you do that? Put them in, add your annex zeros, but don't rank order just yet. And I'll do the same thing here. That's what it looks like without the annex zeros added in. So, it's okay. All right. And I was just answering.
Oh, damn.
Least to greatest or greatest to least again. All right, so starting on the far left, we have a bunch of ones that don't tell us anything. So right now, we have a 6-way tie for the top. So now we've got to take a look at our tenths. Out of 8, 5, 9, 5, 7, and 7, out of just those digits, which one is the highest? Dylan. Correct. So now I know that Alma is my top. I'm going to put a 1 next to it and then do what? Cross it out because it cannot be looked at any longer in my decision making. It's already been decided that's my top dog. I've got to stay in the tenths column because I still have different digits. 8, 5, 5, 7, 7. Which one's the highest? Fozzie. Brian Head. So that's going to be your number 2. Cross it out. It is no longer involved in the decision process. 5, 5, 7, 7. Hunt. And because you have a 2-way tie with 7, so we still have to consider them in our decisions, both Fox Park and Taos. But we still don't know number 3 yet, so what do I got to do? Geneve. I now need to go over one more place value into my hundredths and make my decision for number 3 based on just these 2 numbers right here. Which one's higher, 6 or 1? That gets your number 3 ranking, which automatically means what? Automatically means what? Fox Park is 4. Get to kill two cities with 1 stone there. Get rid of both. Staying in the tenths column, we still have to now take a look and see, out of these 2, Mammoth Lakes and Alpine, which one is greater? Well, in the tenths column, we still have a pair of 5s, so what do we have to do? Go to the hundredths. 0, 2. Which one's greater? Alpine now gets the ranking of number 5, which automatically gives Mammoth Lakes our lowest at 6. Now what we have to do is remember, this is just a work chart. This is just a place for you to work through it we're now going to flip to the next page and actually rank them the way that they need to be ranked, which means you got to do a little flipping back and forth. All right, the highest was what? Followed by Brian Head. Followed by, you guys have never been to Taos? It's the best ski area. Yeah, if you guys are skiers, you want to go to Taos. Followed by Fox Park. Followed by, come on guys, come on, let's do this. Followed by, any questions on how to do this? You have to do it the way that I'm showing you to do it, no shortcuts. I mean that. Okay? So let me tell you what's on board. I'm going to probably give you no more than about 20 minutes to give you, I'm going to give you 2 pages to do. Then I do want to at least start part 2 of this, which is now dealing the same thing with negative numbers, which is just another layer of difficulty. It's doable, but we just got to be more conscious of the fact now we're dealing with both sides of the number line. And that can get confusing also. All right, so here's the deal. Advanced. Don't go ahead. You just got to finish 5 and 6, basically. All right? Your keys are hanging up. You may check on your own, but again, you got to do it the way that I show you to do it. I think there's one problem where you've got to actually rank, I believe. It's the very last question on page 6. But don't go ahead to day 2. Everybody else, your checkpoints, I need you to, and there's no debate about this. I need to check your sheet after page 5. I want to look everything over. And then you need to come up to me and see me after page 6 as well. So you've got 2 checkpoints, after 5 and after 6. Okay? That's fine. Some people are not in class because they went to lessons, so they need to hear what we're doing anyway. So that's why it's still rolling. But now I'll pause it. All right, so you can group up and go.